We're on a search for the best interiors and architectural projects New York has to offer.
New York architecture is world-renowned. In this series, we highlight and celebrate that magnificent work.
Welcome to New York by Design, Architecture.
We've gathered a diverse group of design industry leaders at 277 Fifth Avenue Panoramic Penthouse in the Sky to judge which architectural projects will go through to the final to ultimately be crowned this season's winner.
It's really such a range. There are single homes, there are high rises, there's also amazing public spaces.
These buildings, they don't come from space, right? Someone is thinking about every detail.
As industry professionals, we live this day in, day out, and it's so nice to be able to reach a larger audience and give a glimpse as to how we talk about design and how things come to be and what details go into the most successful projects.
Let's get started with a look at a unique bar and restaurant in the Sky.
I really love Manhattan. Beautiful views in all directions. It's really kind of a breathtaking place to enjoy New York City.
The strongest point about the project, I thought, was the flow of the space. The way you seamlessly go from bar to lounge to more formal dining.
But I think that it needed a little bit more warmth, a little bit more sex appeal on the interior to sort of like celebrate the fact that you're at this beautiful high space.
Located in Manhattan's landmark tower, 28 Liberty is a bar, restaurant, and event space with sweeping city views that honors the building's rich architectural history. Hey, Krista, I thought we were going to be going to some amazing skytop restaurant. What are we doing down here in the lobby?
Well, you're noticing one of the many special features of this building, which is our street-facing facade of the restaurant before you get zipped up to the 60th floor.
Now I hear this entire building is landmarked.
The building originally opened in 1961, and it was a Gordon Bunshaft-led design by SOM. And at the time, David Rockefeller was the executive vice president of Chase Manhattan Bank and undertook this project to help keep Lower Manhattan vital. And this building at the time was the most significant project to open post-Depression.
And I hear there's actually a Noguchi design plaza in the back.
There's a beautiful sunken rock garden by Noguchi, and then later on in the 70s, there was a Jean Dubuffet sculpture that was added as well. But what you're here to see is the Woods Baggett Design restaurant on the 60th floor. Here we are, welcome to Manhattan.
Manhattan, now tell me about that name.
Manhattan is a reference to Walt Whitman's poem Manhattan, which is his love letter to the city.
Now, it seems so unusual to me to find a restaurant space this big all the way up here on the 60th floor.
Yeah, it all goes back to zoning, actually. So 1916, the zoning laws change. You have the wedding cake style of building where you have the setbacks going all the way up. But there's an alternate zoning that's allowed as well, where if you're able to occupy only 25% of your site, you're able to extrude straight up. And that allows for the international style of building to exist.
Okay. Now tell me about these windows.
Yeah, the views are just incredible. You can see all the way to Central Park from this vantage. And in a space like this, the city really becomes the wallpaper.
It's beautiful.
So the main restaurant space is broken up into 3 distinct areas. We have the buzzy bar that you enter into right off the elevators. Right now we're standing in the cocktail lounge. And then just beyond our open kitchen, you have a very intimate dining room that is bookended by a very unique view of the crown of 70 Pine.
Oh, wow. Well, you know, I love how all the key areas of the restaurant just flow together. And I also love the richness of all of these materials, which seems to be in such stark contrast to the exterior of the building.
It was quite intentional that, you know, with a steel and glass exterior to make the interior feel much more warm. And I feel pretty strongly in expressing natural materials on interior spaces. If you take a look at our beautiful 40-foot bar, it's all walnut and hammered granite.
Now, I would love to sit at that bar and gaze out at this view.
Best back bar in the city, which I can tell you from experience, awesome.
The introduction of international style architecture here in New York has allowed for this massive restaurant space with unimpeded views where you can enjoy a great cocktail.
The next project is Pond House. The architect took a very Frank Lloyd Wright style approach to this house, and that he designed every inch of it.
The scale of this house was perfect for the site. The use of materials, the exterior in the steel that rusted with age.
The whole concept was set up in a way that it is less maintenance.
It really felt like it had just been always part of that landscape.
Kyle Page from Sundale Studios is an architect who specialises in custom residential design in the city and also out here in the country. Kyle has applied his skills to his own passion project. Kyle, what a site.
Thank you very much. So when I first found this property, I absolutely fell in love with it. It is just so varied and so complex. You know, we have the waterfall, we have the pond, we're surrounded by forest.
Yeah.
We have a wetlands further down.
Is that a hornet's nest I can see?
That is a hornet's nest. We have a second one over here as well.
Goodness, let's not disturb them.
Exactly. No, there's so much biodiversity here, from deer, we have bear here, I've seen bald eagle, we have a blue heron that comes frequently, there's porcupine, chipmunk, it's it's amazing.
And I guess you're living the New York dream, because I know you've got a house in Brooklyn and you spend half your time there and half your time here.
And I tell you, they two juxtapose each other so well. We love our place in Brooklyn, and we have, just the density, the culture there is amazing. And then we come up here and just the solitude and the space is tremendous.
And you've got kids?
I have two young boys that absolutely adore their time here, for sure.
Oh, I bet. So as an architect, why did you choose this site?
I was looking for a site within 2 hours of the city, and I was specifically looking for something I could design to. It could have been a mountain range, it could have been a stand of trees, a beautiful meadow. But when I saw this pond, it just, it was perfect.
So as we approach, I see that the windows deepen as they open out to the pond. That's a nice detail.
Thank you. Yeah, the interior of the cabin is organized where the private spaces are pushed to the back on the north side, and then the more public areas open up towards the pond, and you can kind of see that articulation with the deepening of the windows as the whole structure kind of yearns towards the water.
And what's going on here? It's kind of rusting. I assume that's on purpose.
Yeah, this is weathering steel. So the whole exterior material palette is essentially exposed concrete, weathering steel, and then blackened cedar.
Like 3 materials, basically.
Basically.
So this didn't arrive on site rusted like this, did it?
No, it arrived totally clean. You can kind of see where it's a little less rusted up closer to the eave, but then it weathered pretty quickly, and it'll continue to weather just as the older it gets. And the intention really was to have this kind of weathered permanence to the outside.
So one of the 3 key materials is concrete, and that's what you've gone with here for the slab.
Yeah, I created this concrete plinth which steps down to the water on its downhill edge that I built the structure of the house atop.
And if you don't mind me saying, Kyle, this is wonderfully simplistic in here.
Thank you. It is simple, but programmatically it's complex. We have a lot of activity in here with the kitchen, we have an office area, we have a dining space, we have the living room, and this whole kind of public volume of the interior all being oriented to the outside.
And I'm seeing a lot of triangles.
I had a lot of fun playing with the gable geometry and kind of reintroducing some of those triangle shapes, such as the railing that we see up at the loft, at these prismatic shelves, even the patterns of the window mullions.
So the shelving there, you designed that? You designed everything?
I did. It's we had an ailing sugar maple that we had to take down in construction that you can still see the trunk over here. But that tree created the lumber that went into the shelves that you see, the dining table and benches, the ladder, as well as some of the bedroom furnishings.
Get out. It's so wonderfully organic.
It really worked out well.
But of course, this space is really all about that.
Yes, it is. This space has been tremendously successful in just creating this platform to engage and participate with the larger landscape here. as the snow falls over top the pond. We skate in the wintertime, we swim in the summertime. It is ever changing, for sure.
The landscaping is hardly an English country garden, is it?
No, not at all. My wife is a landscape architect, and she designed a custom seed mix: chicory, black-eyed Susan, and Queen Anne's lace.
So all native.
It is, and it's great because there's no maintenance or upkeep. And so the meadow fills in the summertime, and it's stunning.
You love this kind of work, don't you, Kyle?
Oh, so much so. I have a handful of projects in the area, and each one is completely different. Designing in response to a beautiful site, it's the best way to be an architect. And every project that you take with that approach leads to something completely unique and different.
We cover a lot of massive and complex properties on this series, but you'd have to agree, this is not one of them. This is modern and minimal. All excess is peeled away. The Pond House is a lesson in design and the choosing of a material palette that's sympathetic and in harmony with its environment.
In this series, we're introducing 3 new awards. The Air, Light, and View Award, sponsored by Marvin, celebrates the best use of windows to elevate design and promote well-being. The Interior Design Award, sponsored by Stone Source, honors one interior space that stands above the rest. And the Exterior Design Award, sponsored by Porcelanosa, will be presented to one project with exceptional exterior design. Winners will be announced in the final episode. We've tasked our elite panel of judges with selecting New York's best architectural and interiors projects.
The judging is very real, yes. And sometimes there are some heated exchanges.
First of all, everyone's super opinionated, but in a really nice way.
The debate is really what makes it lively. And it's just so wonderful to hear these different opinions and different perspectives.
For our next project, we traveled to Sag Harbor, Long Island for a look at the church.
The church, which is an adaptive reuse building, is absolutely incredible in honoring the past and the historic roots of it and bringing in the modern elements.
You wouldn't know from the outside what was going on in the inside. And that's a total transformation with a contemporary touch.
What I find so amazing about it is the restraint. He had all sorts of opportunity to add bells and whistles, create his own kind of statement there, but he let the existing building do the speaking.
Mentioned in Herman Melville's famed book Moby Dick, Sag Harbor is home to the church, a historical structure that has found new life and purpose.
Lee, what a magnificent space.
Welcome to the church. This is an 1835 vintage Methodist church that was built here in Sag Harbor. Up on the king post of that truss is some carved initials and the date, which is 1864.
And how did you get involved in the project?
Well, I have been coming out to Sag Harbor since 1978, and I happened to meet early on this wonderful couple of artists, April Gornick and Eric Fischel, and we started doing projects together.
So when you found it, it was already stripped back in some way?
It was a shell. I thought, let's make a place that is so ultimately flexible that it can evolve over time and find its way and find its character.
So Lee, this looks like a take on religious stained glass?
That's exactly what it is. You know, a church would have had, as you say, stained glass with the apostles, the saints. This is a place about the arts. So Eric had this idea, well, let's find a whole bunch of artists in many genres who did work here in Sag Harbor and honor them. And we printed them on a translucent film so they would have this glow. You see that the panes around it are completely clear, so it really serves to create the sense of a picture.
Right.
And they're made in such a way that you can peel them off in the future. And Eric's idea is that he'll invite other artists to do new portraits of younger artists, people like you and I, but we're not eligible because you have to be dead.
And then this is a very, very tall window, and you've left the gap here to
connect?
Well, this is my obsession. And we had a 20-foot tall window, and I was not going to break it up into two 10-foot tall windows. And then ultimately we said, wait, what we really want is for it to disappear, so let's just put a strip of glass there. So we don't need railings, you won't fall through, and it expresses that great continuity. Well, you know, in most spaces, ceilings are normally unlit. But in this case, one of the artifacts of this entire project is this incredible roof. So we developed these light fixtures which light down and give an even lighting in the space, but they also light up, which really highlights one of the major characteristics of the space. So this is the steeple, the actual steeple of the church. It's one of my favorite spaces because it is more intimate. When we saw it, we said, well, this would make a great library. I wanted the steeple wall to run all the way from the lowest level all the way up to the underside of the roof. So we had these metal grates made, and the view and the light travel all the way down from the roof or up from the floor continuously. And then we made these floating bookshelves that also have just a little gap between them and the wall itself.
And Lee, what is this?
That is the original bell for the church.
But it doesn't work.
I guess it does. So here we are on the lower level of the church. We were given this great gift when the church was moved down from up on the hill, where it was placed on top of this stone foundation. It's 22 inches thick of stone. So we didn't have to insulate, we didn't have to waterproof, it does all that for us.
So in this new space, we have a very new elevator.
Clearly there would not have been an elevator here in the 19th century, so we made it as modern as can be. It's glass enclosed, it has a steel frame. So yes, that's very clearly of today.
Actually, one thing that jumps out to me is the ceiling looks like the original structural beams and rafters, but with a gaping big gash, which means they can't be functioning structurally.
Well, you're right. And so it's supported by steel beams that are hidden, but these floor joists are the original floor joists. But we got these old wood planks, which we sheathed the recess with, and it's an opportunity for some indirect lighting.
Pulling up to the church, you see the church, you see the art either side of it, and I'm wondering how much of this you had to renovate yourself when you took over the project.
Everything that you're looking at is actually brand new, just built the way it would have been at the time. Mm-hmm. We did put in all the new windows and doors. They're insulated glass, they're tightly sealed. Everything is as it needs to be today, but looking like it was done a really long time ago.
Lee Skolnick's work shows us the value of adapting historic structures to new uses, maintaining the investment of prior generations and taking it into the future.
Why let the judges have all the fun? Which architectural project do you think should win? Vote for your favorite in the Kohler People's Choice Award. One entry will be chosen to win a Destination Kohler experience at the American Club, the Midwest-only 5-star, 5-diamond resort hotel. For more information and to cast your vote, go to newyorkbydesign.com or scan the QR code on the screen. Good luck.
Our search for the next great architectural project continues in Buffalo.
The next project is the FilzFelt showroom. This is the showroom that showcases their product, which is basically felt.
I think in a kind of high-tech world that we live in, it is still so enlightening and interesting to see a company that's making goods.
The spectacular comes from the product and the strategic comes from the architectural intervention, and they form a perfect balance.
This may look like a typical American industrial park, but behind these doors is a showcase for design. Emanuela, we are in a materials manufacturing facility. What was your design brief?
My client, Spinneybeck FilzFelt, caters to our community. So their main customers are architects and designers. So their main brief was to showcase their product, which is mostly felt and leather, but has in recent years expanded to many other interesting materials as well. So we made the materials really work for their properties and installed them in an architectural way. For example, at this wall behind reception, that is their collection of leather panels with that felt strip that has been laser cut for the logo. And the base of the reception desk, which is one of their more recent products, cut wood that becomes flexible. Color has always been a very important element of Spinneybeck's identity. So translating that as well into their felt collection. For example, at this product, this is felt, and this happens to be a product that was designed by students who won a competition.
Oh, wonderful.
Yeah, so the base element is this butterfly. It goes from their dark reds up into neutrals.
It's really stunning. It works beautifully. Emanuela, there are many challenges to an open workspace. What are some of the challenges you dealt with here?
From different functions within an office that have to coexist to privacy and acoustic privacy. If you look at the space, it's high, surrounded by hard surfaces, so this could really be a terrible echo chamber, right? Yes. But look at the trusses up there. So we sandwiched them with acoustic board and also testing, how well does a product work? What can it do? The next level is the hanging baffle, which again absorbs sound. And then the wall cladding of the mezzanine, again, all sound absorbent. Besides the track light, which would probably have been enough, add an element of a warmer glow and of a friendlier, more human scale. So to bring the ceiling height down without being too suffocating, to have this one level of glowing spheres.
In your work, what is your design philosophy?
I studied architecture in Italy, and I worked with my father, who was an architect in Milan. We would be working on projects ranging from small residential developments, a lot of furniture design, product design, even jewelry and textiles. That was just what you did as an architect.
Over here is a really fine example in these panels.
The system was developed as a really functional system of sliding panels. So, we sourced track and attachment system that really can be as open or as closed as you want them to be. Mm-hmm. In this case, we wanted to be able to filter the light and also have some privacy. So it's really up to your graphic preference and to the needs of the space.
We just witnessed 6 minutes on this cutting machine. How intricate can it get?
You can really cut anything that can be programmed into the machine. So if you remember in the reception, the cut logo that was cut here, the panels in the conference room, it's really up to whatever the designer wants to do.
So can we see the results of this one?
Let's pick it up.
It's beautiful.
It's really like felt lace. Can you imagine cutting this by hand?
Thank goodness for the machine.
Yes.
By making materials the highlight of this project, Emanuela was able to bring her client's product to life through design.
It's finally time to find out which projects from this episode have been selected to move on to the final later in the season.
I'm very happy that the church is one of the finalists. I think that the respect that they paid and the homage that they paid to the building was incredible. Love the facade and the architecture.
But at the core of it is the opportunity to celebrate art and artists. And the details where you can actually see the artist profile on the window is absolutely incredible.
The FilzFelt project was probably, for me, one of the most disciplined projects that we looked at. So beautifully executed, beautiful use of color. I found it very inspiring. One of my favorite projects on the show.
Such a fun project. Why I love this project is because the material was the inspiration.
Congratulations to the church and FilzFelt headquarters. We wish them well in the final. And join us next time for more inspiring designs on New York ByDesign architecture.
For more information on any of the projects featured in the series and to vote in the Kohler People's Choice Award, go to newyorkbydesign.com.